Roman Reigns hasn't lost a singles match by pinfall in over 4 years, right? And guess who just happens to be the last man to beat him clean? Finn Balor. But that night, that monumental victory, it was practically erased from the archives. Now, what if that erasure wasn't some vindictive booking decision, a simple oversight, or a clumsy attempt to protect Reigns? What if it was actually the very first breadcrumb, a subtle hint of a shadow pact, a clandestine agreement that still controls the Universal title picture to this very day? It's a wild thought, we know, but the more you look, the more pieces fall into place. Stick with us until the very end, because the final, undeniable receipt is time-stamped, irrefutable, and frankly impossible to unsee once you've witnessed it. On the surface, these men are absolute fire and ice. Roman Reigns, the undisputed tribal chief, strides in with the full might of the bloodline, radiating that larger-than-life aura. He's got the Netflix documentary, the Hollywood sheen, the whole 9 yards. Finn Balor, on the other hand, floats in and out of the Judgment Day drama, a master of duality, toggling between the grinning, almost demonic paint of his alter ego and the sneering, manipulative prince persona. They've main evented together, they've traded wins at live events, and yet they have never, not once, on camera, shared so much as a casual, "too sweet." That's precisely what makes this idea so utterly delicious, isn't it? WWE keeps trying to sell us on the narrative that they're bitter rivals constantly at odds. But every single coincidence we're about to stack up, every anomaly we're about to uncover, fits far better if we consider them not as enemies but as secret business partners, pulling strings behind the curtain. It's a narrative far more intriguing than the one we're fed. Let's flash back to Extreme Rules 2021. This was the only time the demon persona ever lost outright. Reigns speared Balor through the barricade, the referee called for the bell, and WWE's own YouTube channel uploaded the highlight. But here's the kicker. It came with a cryptic caption that read, "Sometimes the greater demon is the friend you make along the way." Think about that for a second. The video was scrubbed, the line deleted, within 20 minutes, but dozens of screenshots survived. Why go to such extreme lengths to wipe a caption unless it accidentally, perhaps prematurely, told the unvarnished truth? It's not just a casual mistake, it's a cover-up. That very same night also featured the earliest tease of Roman's now famous needle-moving catchphrase. The exact same phrase Balor had dropped in a backstage interview just 2 weeks prior, talking about the NXT UK brand. Was that just a random coincidence? Or was it a slipped code, a prearranged signal, perhaps even a shared branding meeting that went a little too far off script? The timing is just too perfect to ignore. Since 2021, a curious pattern has emerged, a subtle choreography that seems almost too precise to be accidental. Every single time Roman Reigns needs to skip a pay-per-view to film a Hollywood project to tend to his burgeoning acting career, who conveniently steps in to fill that main event slot? Finn Balor. It's almost as if he's the designated understudy, always ready to take center stage when the tribal chief is away. And when Balor himself needed protection, say, after suffering a minor concussion in 2022, what happened? Roman's next open challenge conveniently occurred on a European loop that Balor wasn't booked on, keeping Finn off TV without making him look weak, without having him take a loss. It's a delicate dance, a protective maneuver. Take a look at house show data if you can get your hands on it. These two have been advertised opposite each other only twice in 3 years. And both times the card mysteriously got reshuffled the afternoon of the show, moving them into tag main events where neither man took the fall. That's not just luck. That's meticulous choreography. That's a carefully managed narrative, ensuring neither star is diminished. The plot thickens when you follow the money. Roman Reigns quietly signed a new, limited dates deal in May 2023, solidifying his part-time status. The very same week, Finn Balor's merchandise percentage was mysteriously renegotiated, securing him a significant bump. Dave Meltzer, the seasoned wrestling journalist, reported that this raise came from an unnamed top guy advocating internally. Now, who benefits most if Finn's merch sales suddenly jump? Anyone with a back-end cut on overall WWE revenue, of course, like the guy whose licensing tier is tied directly to company-wide sales. It's a classic case of rising tides lifting all boats, especially if you're steering the ship. And speaking of merch, that same week the WWE shop dropped a stealth tribal demon tee. Black on black, no official press release, no fanfare. It appeared, then vanished 48 hours later. Limited run merch is normal, sure, but limited run merch that explicitly combines their iconic imagery, subtly merging their personas. That's not normal. That's a test balloon, a quiet nod, a piece of insider art for those in the know. Both men operate behind elaborate smoke screens, perfectly crafted to divert attention. The Judgment Day's internal tension, for instance, has been leaked to every dirt sheet for months, fueling endless speculation. Yet, the one man who never ever gets booted, the one constant in that chaotic faction, is Balor. Why? Because the faction, in essence, is his alibi. While Dominic and Rhea Ripley grab all the heat, soaking up camera time and media scrutiny, Finn is free to work dark matches, sneak into production trucks, or fly to unadvertised live events without the media or even most fans ever noticing. Roman Reigns uses the Bloodline in much the same way. A dozen relatives, a sprawling family saga designed to soak up camera time so he can vanish for weeks at a time, managing his outside interests. Both groups, crucially, share a single, omnipresent advisor, Paul Heyman. Heyman, by his own podcast admission, keeps a third ledger for clients who prefer to avoid public ties, those who operate in the shadows. His personal Instagram for the entire month of January 2024 followed only two wrestlers, Roman and Finn. He unfollowed Balor the day after the Royal Rumble. Nothing suspicious there, right? Just a coincidence. So, what's the driving force behind this elaborate charade? Simple. Control without fatigue. Roman Reigns can't wrestle 200 dates a year anymore. Hollywood won't allow it, and frankly, he doesn't need to. Finn Balor, for his part, can't realistically carry the company on a full-time schedule without the demon gimmick feeling stale, without burning himself out. But together, they can swap the top guy burden like a timeshare, perfectly complementing each other's schedules and strengths. Finn pushes merch internationally, especially in lucrative markets like the UK and Japan, keeping WWE's global numbers looking fat and healthy. Roman, meanwhile, keeps the domestic mainstream press humming, ensuring WWE remains relevant in the broader entertainment landscape. Neither has to job clean because when they do lose, it's always via a fluke, outside interference, or a non-finish, outcomes they can subtly script themselves if they're truly working in tandem. The endgame here is a locker room where no emerging babyface gets a legitimate rub from either guy unless they explicitly sign off on it, effectively bottlenecking the main event scene for the rest of the decade. It's a shrewd business move, designed for longevity and absolute power. Now, let's get to the real clincher, the moment that pulls back the curtain, even if just for a fleeting second. On the March 15th, 2024 SmackDown, Roman Reigns was cutting a promo in the ring, holding court as usual. But the hard cam, bless its heart, caught something unintended. In the upper left corner of the frame, clear as day, you can spot Balor, hood up, trying to be inconspicuous, talking to a stagehand. As Roman delivers that iconic line, "I built this table and only two people eat at it," he holds up two fingers, glances subtly toward the ramp, right where Balor would have been, then immediately, almost reflexively, lowers his hand, a tiny, blink-and-you-miss-it gesture, but pregnant with meaning. That very same night, WWE's internal travel sheet, a document detailing who's supposed to be where, mysteriously leaked online. And guess what? Finn Balor was not listed on the SmackDown roster. He was flown in on a private jet, the tail number of which, per FAA logs, matches the jet leased by Roman's marketing partner. Why fly across the globe on a private jet linked to your supposed rival just to sit backstage, unadvertised, unless you're collecting on a handshake deal? Unless you're there for a clandestine meeting, a private consultation, or to pick up your share of the profits? Skeptics, and there will be many, will undoubtedly scoff and say, if they're allies, why did Balor call Reigns overrated in a 2023 interview? And that, my friends, is precisely the point. Because the absolute best way to keep a secret, to bury a truth so deep no one will ever find it, is to ridicule it in public. Vince McMahon himself, a master of misdirection, used to famously say, "Admit the rumor through a joke and nobody believes it." Finn's seemingly disrespectful jab got headlines, it generated buzz, and most importantly, it convinced fans that no alliance could possibly exist. It's a classic misdirection play, straight out of the playbook. It's the same reason Roman laughed off a fan's Finn Demon King reunion sign on a live stream. Dismiss it, make it seem ridiculous, move on, and keep printing money behind the curtain where the real business gets done. It's a masterful performance of plausible deniability. The pieces are already falling into place for the next phase of this grand scheme. Heyman has begun teasing a civil war within the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa is openly doubting Roman, sowing seeds of discord. On Raw, the Judgment Day's internal strife is conveniently pushing Balor toward a babyface turn, or at least a significant shift in alignment. The simplest read of all this manufactured drama: both men are meticulously setting up their next act. A reunited, Shield-style faction, but with a far more insidious power structure. Heyman as the undisputed mouthpiece, Balor as the global ace, capable of conquering international markets, and Reigns as the flagship, the undeniable face of the company. And of course, whichever young lions they decide to anoint and bring into their inner circle. Expect a surprise tag at Survivor Series, maybe not an outright official pairing, but a moment of reluctant cooperation that ends with both men standing tall, while commentary desperately tries to sell it as an uneasy truce. After that, Balor conveniently stops taking pins, Roman stops taking dates, and WWE's Nielsen needle stays glued to the green, ensuring profitability for their silent partners. If you've got any more evidence we might have missed, screenshots, obscure house show reports, weird merch listings that vanished into thin air, drop them in the comments below. Let's piece this puzzle together. Smash that like button so the algorithm understands that real wrestling investigations are far more compelling than endless reaction podcasts. And definitely hit subscribe because you won't want to miss our next deep dive. We're already digging into why LA Knight's catchphrases mysteriously showed up in a 2018 Bray Wyatt workbook. Trust us, that's a rabbit hole you absolutely do not want to miss. Look, we can't produce a signed contract, can we? Not with their names on it, notarized and everything. But in the world of professional wrestling, the loudest truth, the most undeniable reality, is often the one they never ever mention on TV. Every scheduling gap, every suspicious merch spike, every mysteriously deleted caption, and every matching tail number tells the same consistent story. Finn Balor and Roman Reigns aren't just enemies. They're shareholders in the same invisible empire, partners in a clandestine operation. The next time you hear Michael Cole breathlessly declare that anything can happen in WWE, remember this. It usually happens because two very powerful guys operating far beyond the reach of the cameras decided it was good for their business. Keep your eyes open, keep your receipts, and as always, don't trust the hand that raises the title. Trust the hand that quietly counts the gate.